3. But 3 commissioners so far?
One, two, yes.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, Pedro.
Oh, Pedro Lorenzo, our 4th commissioner. Welcome to your first planning board meeting, Mr. Lorenzo.
Thank you, Mr. Deutsch.
Mr. Lorenzo is you can't replace Harry Savalas,
Oh, sir, no, never.
but Harry Savalas, over 20 years of service to the board, decided that was enough.
Wow.
He
Yes.
was the municipal representative, Mike?
Class 2.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow. So we're lacking a person to have a full meeting tonight?
For quorum, we need one more person or no?
Yeah.
If 5 to tango.
Is Mr. Thomas there?
Did you get what I sent you, Mr. Lorenzo?
Man, he looked like...
I'm surprised our chairwoman's not on. Maybe she's having problems.
Oh.
Our board attorney is having problems signing on. Let's see.
There we go.
Okay, we're getting there.
Mr. Deutsch, where is chairman here today?
She must be having. I haven't heard from.
She should be here. She said she's going to be on Monday's special meeting. That's what she did.
Yes.
There she go.
There we go. Yeah.
All right.
You have a quorum now?
We have a quorum now. We're waiting for the board attorney to sign on. Steve is having some technical issues.
I'm having a problem getting the video. Wait, got it.
There she go.
There we go.
Hello, everybody.
I'm gonna try getting in touch with Mr. Equity.
Yeah, he was having a problem. Does anyone, Mike, are they done with the, city council chambers? What?
I got I got a text saying that they're straightening out some audio problems. IT.
Okay, IT, but the actual meeting that was being held there, which was holding us up a little bit, that's finished?
I think so, yes.
Okay, alright, okay, just keep me posted.
Yes.
Which, application did you want to hear first this evening?
Mr. Rubin, do you have a preference?
Yes. I do have a preference, either one. Paterson Fund LLC, 122, 124 Godwin Avenue.
Okay. Is that okay, Michael?
Yes.
Okay, good. Good evening, Melinda.
There is something
How are you, Chairwoman? I'm good, thank you. How about yourself? I'm okay. Everything's good? Bit under the weather today. Oh, I was like that yesterday. I understand totally. This is weather, the change in temperatures, they don't fare well with me, so. Everybody else good? I see everybody else. Mr. Williams, you're good? Okay. Okay. I see my vice chair. I see everybody else. Hello, everybody. Hi.
How you doing, Madam Chairwoman?
Hello, Chairman.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Chairwoman.
I
Good
see
to
Ken.
see you, Commissioner Leonza.
Yes,
Yes. Mr. Aranza, or,
Congratulations.
thank you. They don't know that we know each other for a long time.
Yes, they don't know that, but we do.
it's up now, you just gave it away.
Still love it.
We're supposed to-
We all know you're an all-star. We all know you're an all-star rookie. So
That quiet. Is Penny on the line? I'm here. Hi Penny, how are you? Hi Jan, how are you? Good. Okay, so we have a quorum. Okay, so we're just waiting for IT, everyone. Just, let's wait a few minutes. I'm sure they'll get to it. Thank you.
yeah, I think Michael said I was waiting for your attorney.
Yeah, well, that too. He called me. He was having a hard time getting on. There was something with the tablet, but I'm sure, IT will help him with that. So, okay, we'll talk in a few minutes, everybody. Thank you.
Here's Al.
Al?
I am in.
I see you. I only see the top of your eyes.
There
There's Al.
I got it.
Alright, so now,
The whites of his eyes.
yeah, we can see everybody, everybody's here. I got a quorum. All I really need now is for, IT to give us the go-ahead. So we'll just sit tight for a few minutes and wait to hear from, Michael. Thank you.
I think we're live, Madam Chairwoman.
Okay, we got the go-ahead to begin?
Yes.
Okay, great. Then at this time, I will ask everyone to please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Please be seated. And let me just get my paperwork, sorry. Bear with me one moment. Okay, Commissioners, Planning Board, staff, ladies and gentlemen, as Chairwoman of the City of Paterson's Planning Board, I call this meeting of 9/29/21 to order. I hereby state that all the provisions of the State of New Jersey Public Meeting Law have been fully and completely met, that the notice of provisions required have been properly posted in the Planning Board office and with the City of Paterson clerk, that the public notice and advertisements have been published in the Herald News on September 15th, 2021 in accordance with the law, and that the copies of such notice and public advertisements are on file in the Planning Board office, as is also the agenda listing the applications to be taken up by the Planning Board at this meeting. The procedures tonight will be in accordance with the rules, regulations, and bylaws as heretofore determined by the Planning Board at its office in the municipal complex in the City of Paterson. Roll call, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Commissioner Figueroa, absent. Commissioner Forestieri.
Present.
Commissioner Roman. Absent. Oh, you're present. Oh, good. Good to hear from you, sir.
Yes.
Commissioner Fulmore. Absent. Commissioner Santana.
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Cleaves. Absent. Commissioner Laranza. Where'd he go?
I heard.
Thank you. Commissioner Fisher. Absent. Commissioner Ahmed. Absent. Vice Chairman Udine.
Present.
Councilman Kalik. Absent. And Chairwoman Northrup.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. We have six commissioners present.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, so the notice pursuant to the Open Publics Meeting Act addressing effect of coronavirus measures on the next public meeting, consistent with the coronavirus related restrictions of Executive Order Number 107, given on Saturday, March 21st, 2020 by Governor Philip D. Murphy. The Planning Board of the City of Paterson will not conduct in-person participation of the public at all future meetings until further notice. However, public participation will be available by means of communication equipment pursuant to NJSA 10:4-8 commencing on April 15, 2020. Though there may potentially be a practical need for a limited number of administrative, technical, or other city personnel to be present in or near the City Council Chambers, 3rd floor, City Hall, 155 Market Street, Paterson, New Jersey, in-person participation of the public is prohibited. Nevertheless, for reasons of compliance with the said Executive Order Number 107, public participation will be available by calling 973-321-1579. And the meeting ID is 711-680-001. And I will repeat that later on during the course of the meeting, on the date and time that the meeting is scheduled to commence. The public may also participate in the meeting by accessing the website of the City of Paterson, www.patersonnj.gov, and following the email link for the meeting, www.patersonnj.gov//planning board. Okay, so this evening we have 3 things on our agenda. We have 3 applications. We will begin with the first application, Paterson Fund One Llc, located at 122, 124 Godwin Avenue, Block 3514, Lot 8. Mr. Rubin, are you representing this applicant?
Yes, Madam Chair, for the record, Michael Rubin, 1330 Hamburg Turnpike, Wayne Township. We're the attorneys for Paterson Fund One Llc in this application.
Okay, great. Okay, so the applicant proposes to remove the existing 2.5-story frame dwelling on the parcel and construct a new 4-story residential building with a total of 15 units. The basement proposes a sprinkler / utility room, a refuge and recycling room, a bike storage area, a half bathroom, a gym / community area, an elevator, and staircase. The first floor proposes a lobby with an elevator, a mail and package room, and a stairwell. 9 off-street parking spaces also are proposed in addition to a secondary stairwell. The 2nd through 4th floors each propose 5 one-bedroom units on each floor. The parcel has area of 6,000 square feet. This proposal is within the RA-2 zone of the 4th Ward Redevelopment Plan. Variances are requested for the following. Front yard setback is a minimum of 3 feet is required and 0 feet is proposed. One side yard setback is a minimum of 5 feet is required and 0 feet is provided. Number of building stories as 3.5-story building is permitted and a 4-story building is proposed. Maximum building coverage as 60% building coverage is permitted and 75% building coverage is proposed. And parking, as 15 off-street parking spaces are required and 9 off-street parking spaces are proposed. And this requires site plan approval and bulk variances. And at this time, I'm gonna ask Mr. Deutsch for his review. However, I'm gonna ask everybody while he's doing this to please, unless you're speaking, just mute your mics, everyone, please, so we don't have any background noise. All right, thank you very much. Mr. Deutsch, are you ready?
Yes, unless you want to give Councilman Kalik a couple of minutes to try and sign in, he's having a little trouble.
He is? Okay, then let's give it 5 minutes. We'll wait for him to sign in. I'm sure IT will help him, and then we can.
Okay, his city email wasn't working, so I sent it to another email, so he should be able to sign in momentarily.
Okay, I'll give it a few more minutes, otherwise, maybe he can just do it in through his phone or something, so that we can move it along.
There we go.
I see him.
Are you there, sir?
I am here.
Okay, good.
Okay, thank you. Please mark the record that Councilman Kalik is now in attendance. Okay, and at this time then, Michael, I will ask you for your review. Thank you.
Okay, one moment.
Everybody else mute their mics. Thank you.
Do we know who 8622 4*30 is? Can you identify yourself?
That's me, Frank Roman. I'm also on my phone. I have my
Oh, okay, Commissioner Roman. Thank you. So
Thank you.
don't kick that number off, IT. He's one of our commissioners. Okay. Property taxes and sewer charges are current. Persons having a 10% or greater ownership interest in Paterson Fund I Llc are Matthew Florio, Alan Janet Couture, Raymond Davuti, and Radney Davuti, all providing an address of 175 Broadway, Paterson, New Jersey. As indicated in the property survey prepared by Stephen Kestner, LS, Lot 4, 122-124 Godwin Avenue has frontage of 50 feet. Excuse me, that should be Lot 8, not Lot 4. Has frontage of 50 feet on Godwin Avenue, a rear lot line that also measures 50 feet, and eastern and western side lot lines that measure 120 feet each. A 2.5-story frame dwelling with an exterior wall along the eastern side of the dwelling exists on the parcel, in addition to a driveway leading to a rear garage. The parcel is area of 6,000 square feet for 0.12 acres. There exists 2.5-story dwellings on either side of the property. Godwin Street is a one-way street in a westerly direction. Evans Architect has prepared a 4-page architectural submittal dated January 14, 2020. Drawing S1 is the site plan. Details are shown for the sanitary sewer connection, barrier-free parking detail, concrete vertical curb and roadway pavement widening, seepage pit section, the zoning ordinance data, and a 200-foot radius map. The existing condition site plan indicates the site rises in elevation from 104 near the front of the parcel to 111 towards the rear of the property. The city property record card indicates that this is a 2-unit dwelling in excess of 100 years old. The proposed site plan indicates that the existing structure is to be removed. The proposed building is to cover 80% of the lot and has an approximate dimension of 45 feet in width and 100 feet in length. The building is proposed to be on the front property line, 20 feet from the rear property line, placed on the western side property line, and 5 feet from the eastern side property line. To the west, a 2.5-story frame dwelling with windows on the side will remain 3 feet from the common property line shared with the parcel in question. A note on the plan indicates that the entire site and site perimeter is to be equipped with video security throughout public areas and site lighting along the traveled public way and parking area. Surveillance cameras are to connect the City of Paterson Police Department system. Drawing S2 is the site plan with soil erosion details and notes. A permit is required from the Hudson Essex Passaic Soil Conservation Service prior to final approval. Drawing SK1 indicates the basement and upper story floor plans. The basement plan indicates a sprinkler and utility room, a refuse and recycling room, a bike storage area, a restroom, a gym, and an elevator and staircase. The first floor indicates that there is a doorway access point into the building through recessed access doors located on Godwin Avenue. Recessed doors lead to a vestibule area which provides access to a lounge area, a building elevator, the mailroom, and stairwell number 1. There's also an interior door that leads to the parking garage. The overhead garage door located on Godwin Avenue leads to the 9-space parking garage, which includes 1 handicap parking space and 1 compact car space. There are 2 access points located at the rear of the buildings to access the second enclosed stairwell, 1 interior access door and 1 exterior access door. Floor plan for the second, third, and fourth floor plans are identical in layout. Each floor has 5 one-bedroom units. All units include a full bathroom, a washer and dryer, a kitchen, and a living room area. The one-bedroom unit contains 571 square feet, 630 square feet, 662 square feet, 707 square feet, and 741 square feet. There's also a 276 square foot tenant meeting room on each floor. Drawing SK2 are the building elevations. The front elevation view from Godwin Street indicates the garage entry door and the pedestrian access door into the vestibule area. The building indicates a brick veneer facade, triple windows on each floor, and a rooftop molding. The rear elevation view of the building indicates a stucco finish and 1 set of double windows on each floor. The left side elevation indicates the first floor rear skier egress door. Windows are on each of the upper floors. The right side elevation indicates no windows and a stucco exterior. This is a flat roof building. The building indicates a top height of 39 feet. The intent of the RA-2 residential district of the 4th Ward redevelopment plan is to permit a more intensive residential use of land with various types of dwellings. The surrounding existing dwellings consist of mainly older, multifamily dwellings of 2 and 3 stories in height. On the northwest corner of Carroll Street and Godwin Avenue, a 3-story apartment building with above-ground basement units has existed for many years. Within the RA-2 district of the 4th Ward redevelopment plan, there are other examples of both new and recently approved multiple-unit residential buildings that have replaced older structures that have either been vacant and abandoned or in long vacant lots. The applicant requests variances to the following conditions for this proposed 15-unit structure. Front yard setback as a minimum of 3 feet is required and 0 feet is proposed on Godwin Avenue. 1 side yard setback as a minimum of 5 feet is required and 0 feet is provided from the building to the western property line. Number of building stories as a 3.5-story building is permitted and a 4-story building is proposed. Maximum building coverage at 60% building coverage is permitted and 75% building coverage is proposed. Parking as 15 off-street parking spaces are required and 9 off-street parking spaces are proposed. 1 parking space for each of the, 15 one-bedroom dwelling units is required as 9 off-street parking spaces are proposed. A variance for I'm going to go on to number 16. A variance is requested for 3 of the one-bedroom units as they are to contain 571 square feet and the minimum size required for the one-bedroom unit is 600 square feet. As this is a redevelopment area, the planning board must determine whether the granting of the requested variances to allow the number of dwelling units proposed by the applicant is appropriate for the lot and the immediate surrounding area. Residential apartment construction is permitted within the redevelopment area. A mixture of different types of residential unit is encouraged. The planning board should determine whether the land area of this parcel is suitable for the number and type of apartment units proposed and whether additional off-street parking needs to be obtained. So it'll be the responsibility of the applicant and or the preparer of the plan to obtain a letter from the city engineer indicating the plans have been satisfactorily reviewed prior to the plans being released to the construction official. Surrounding land uses. This proposal is in the Wrigley Park section of the city within the 4th Ward redevelopment plan. The area is residential with neighborhood commercial areas located at some corner intersections. Concluding remarks. The applicant estimates the cost of this proposal are approximately $2 million. The applicant should incorporate the design elements contained within the 4th Ward redevelopment plan on the site and within the building. At a planning board meeting held on January 27, 2020, an application was approved to construct a 20-unit residential building at 112-114 Godwin Avenue, block 3514, lots 4 and 5. 8 off-street parking spaces were included. That's your staff review for this proposal, Madam Chairwoman.
Okay, thank you very much. At this time, I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Rubin. Mr. Rubin, how many witnesses do you have this evening?
Well, generally the 3 witnesses, but in the event that you need any more information, we do have a representative of the owner here with us in the event that is required. Don't think so, but we'll see where we go. The first witness would be the architect, Matt Evans,
Okay,
sworn.
okay, please.
Matt, please raise your right hand. You swear affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Say your full name for the record.
Matthew Evans, architect, 470 Chamberlain Ave, Paterson, New Jersey.
Thank you, we
I
accept.
assume Mr. Evans,
Excuse me, wait, we accept him as an expert witness. Thank you, please proceed.
great. Mr. Evans, tell us about this application. What is being proposed on this site in the 4th Ward redevelopment zone?
Okay, what I can do is share my screen. Give me a second. Okay, we have basically we have the plan, site plan, and architectural and details, basically illustrated previously by Mr. Deutsch. The only things I would say, we have the site is a little longer than the normal 50 by 100 lot. It's 50 by 120. So we have a 4-story multifamily with parking underneath, similar to ones we've submitted and were approved in the past. I'm going to go to one of the items that Mr. Deutsch mentioned. We have one unit in the rear, which is slightly under the 600 square feet. It's 571 square feet. But as you can see, it has a large open living dining space, a large bedroom, and it does have ample, adequate space for handicap access with laundry, mechanical. So we'd be seeking relief for that. And then the other thing is the other units are in excess of the minimum requirements. So we have a 1-bedroom unit number 204-404, which is 662. Unit 203, which is 630. 202 is a 1-bedroom. It's a larger 1-bedroom, 741. And then we have the front unit 201 is 707 for a 1-bedroom. So we have some large bedroom units in addition to more efficient sized unit in the rear. I'll go to, let me share my rendering. You can see this now, right?
Yes.
Well, I don't see the rendering. I just see,
Up in a second, let me just
okay.
stop sharing that. And I'm going to share my picture. So there's basically what it will look like. With the materials, we have brick, stucco, different materials. We have landscaping, the garage entry, and the main entry to the building to the right of the garage. So that's what we would be proposing, and there we did a rendering in context of the neighborhood. So.
Mr. Evans, just to reiterate on whatever green space we have, in this particular project for this site, there is some green space that is available for some vegetation.
Yes, we have, go back. So this, as I mentioned, this lot is larger. So we have the landscaped area in the rear for the tenants to use. We have 50 by 20, that's 1,000 square feet of green space directly to the rear of the building, which is used for the tenants.
So that would be available to the tenants in the building.
Yes, and then we also have the amenity space on each floor, as mentioned previously by Mr. Deutsch. And then we have the basement, which has some amenity space also.
Mr. Evans, you know that this is part of the Fourth Ward redevelopment plan, and all new construction has to fit into the parameters of the plan. In your professional opinion, does this new proposal for this new building in Fourth Ward going to comply with the requirements of the redevelopment plan?
Yes, we mixed materials. We have a contemporary look to the building. We have some nice architectural aesthetic details, and I feel that it will fit in and conforms to the Fourth Ward redevelopment plan.
And in your professional opinion, those units that do not adhere to the size area for the redevelopment plan, is it your professional opinion that these units are significant and available and will be available for families and for obviously smaller families, but are appropriate for the zone?
Yes, it's appropriate, and it's fully handicap accessible. So it has all the clearances needed for the bathroom, the kitchen, and the bedroom living space. So it would comply with the barrier-free code. So we're looking for relief on 29 square feet.
Thank you. Those are the questions I would have, Madam Chair.
Okay. I'm sorry, who is your next witness?
George Williams, the professional planner.
And the person after that would be?
Only a representative of the owner, if in fact we don't
Okay.
need it, then it would just.
Yeah, then just bring up Mr. Williams, please.
Okay, if Mr. Williams can be sworn.
Yes?
Raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm testimony about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I most certainly do.
Can you please state your full name for the record?
Good evening, Commissioners, Good evening, Madam Court Reporter and Counsel. My name is George Weevil Williams. I'm with the planning firm Nishwain Group, headquartered at 105 Grove Street, suite number 3 in Montclair, New Jersey. And good evening.
Good evening, and we accept Mr. Williams as an expert witness. Thank you. Please proceed.
You're testifying as a professional planner.
Correct.
Mr. Williams, tell us what we have here as far as the Fourth Ward redevelopment plan.
I'll just briefly piggyback upon what Mr. Deutsch read in his report when he referenced the redevelopment plan. Again, this is in the RA2 residential district of the Fourth Ward redevelopment plan. And as mentioned in his report, the intent of the RA2 is to permit a more intense residential use of land with various types of dwellings. And then there are several purposes of the plan, which I think are very germane to our application. Briefly, they include the following: revitalize the Fourth Ward of the city, which I submit to this board, this application seeks to do, reduce the blighting impacts of abandoned or vacant properties. Again, spot on, and I'll share an exhibit that shows existing conditions and provide quality new housing options for area residents. Again, that's the purpose of this application before you this evening. And the applicant has sought to do that not only in terms of the design elements that Mr. Evans mentioned, but the unit mix that's proposed.
Could you briefly tell us, there are several bulk variances associated with this application. And could you go through those bulk variances, and the rationale for the board to adopt them?
Certainly. Again, I concur with your board planner about the recitation of the reliefs, but for the record, they include the minimum front yard setback, minimum side yard setback, maximum building lot coverage, height in terms of stories, not feet, and then parking as well. In my professional opinion, before I get to the proofs for the reliefs that are being sought, I would just add that the proposed application also advances several purposes of the Paterson Master Plan. Some of those coming from the housing element, others directly from the land use element. Housing goal number 3 is to provide opportunities for the construction and or rehabilitation of market rate and affordable housing. Housing objective number 3C is to promote infill housing development on vacant properties. Again, what's being proposed this evening. And then land use goal number 1 is to provide an appropriate mix, of land uses balancing the needs for residents. Again, the applicant is seeking to provide a spectrum of housing to meet the needs of Pattersonians. So for all those reasons, in my planning opinion, if the reliefs are granted, they would advance not only the goals and objectives of the redevelopment plan, but also those of the master plan. So with that, as this board knows, there are 2 contexts in which the reliefs can be sought. One is the C1 traditional context for a hardship where the lot is unusually shaped, size, or has unique topography. And the other is called the flexible C or C2, which allows the board to consider if on the whole what's being proposed is a better zoning alternative than a strict application of your code, if the benefits outweigh the detriments. And I would submit to the board that the C2 context is most appropriate for the reliefs that we've just recited and that were captured in your board planner's report. As you know, for the C2 context, we have to show that the reliefs are grounded in the purposes of zoning, that the benefits outweigh the detriments, that there's no impairment to the zone plan or no negative detriment, and again, that it's a better alternative than a strict application of your code.
And in your professional opinion, and you have seen these applications before, and you know this application specifically, do the benefits outweigh any detriment?
Yes, and my considered opinion after analyzing the application, the plans, and visiting the site, the benefits of these deviations, which I will characterize as relatively minimal, far outweigh any detriment. In fact, you'll hear me say in a moment, there are no detriments associated with the deviation from the strict application of your code. I would also say to the board that we could easily or comfortably group the bulk and area deviations, and I'll get to the parking separately, because they're all part and parcel of the overall development proposal before you, and there is a court case, the Pullen court case, which suggests that boards may look at the aggregate benefit flowing from the overall development as opposed to the individual deviations, but I'm comfortable giving the proofs either way, but I'll begin by aggregating them. So for each of the bulk and area deviations I've mentioned, they are grounded in the purposes of zoning as follows. Certainly subsection A, and I'm going to read that section from the municipal land use law, is to encourage municipal action to guide the appropriate use or development of all lands in the state in a manner which will promote the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare. It happens to be a bit of a catch-all because it is the first purpose of zoning, but particularly appropriate for this application given that it advances those goals and objectives of the redevelopment plan that I mentioned, and certainly in the context of removing vacant, abandoned, or blighted sections of a community. That would be achieved if you were to grant the release being sought. Subsection J, again reading, to prevent urban sprawl and degradation of the environment through improper use of land. Part of the emphasis of subsection J is to focus development in urban areas, particularly redevelopment areas, as opposed to encouraging development in rural, exurban, and suburban areas, because the infrastructure exists, particularly in urban areas and definitely in redevelopment areas. So allowing this type of infill development not only advances the purposes of your redevelopment plan and the master plan, it also advances the purposes of the state plan. Finally, in terms of purposes of zoning, subsection I, which is to promote a desirable visual environment through creative development techniques and good civic design. Mr. Evans spoke about his focus on the design elements. I would also add that good civic design includes the provision of parking on the site beneath the residential floors. So for those purposes of zoning and the advancement of a state policy for smart growth, which encourages compact dense development and focusing on redevelopment areas, the purposes of zoning will certainly do that.
Again, Madam Chair, that would be the direct questions that I would have of Mr. Williams. And if there are any questions from either of the witnesses, from the board or the public, we would entertain those now if we can.
Okay, I just have one real quick question for Mr. Evans, not Mr. Williams. I may have missed it, but Mr. Evans, I know I heard you talk about the parking on the first floor, but did you mention anything about the lobby and vestibule and mailroom?
No, I did mention the parking, but I'll go through that. Basically what we have is the parking, which is located, to the rear and the left of the building, and
Right.
the parking lobby is the right with the stair and the elevator. We have a mail room and a lounge. We have security cameras throughout the public areas. And then to the rear is an enclosed garage with 9 parking spaces.
Okay, and is there lighting outside?
Yeah, there's lighting.
What I'm going to do is open up to the public, for any questions from the public, regarding, hold on one second, just bear with me, I have to get the phone number because I was not able to print this, just bear with me. If anybody has any questions at all of any of these, witnesses, please call in. I'll give you the number right now. At 973. I apologize for the noise. I live on Route 20 and it's like the Indianapolis 500. So, they call in at 973-321-1579 and the meeting ID is 711-680-001. We have the planner and we have the architect, and I'm hoping everyone heard their testimony, and if anyone has any questions of them, please call in now. I'll give it 2 minutes for call-ins, 3 minutes for questions. If there aren't any, and I'm waiting for the call-ins, then I'm gonna open it up to the commissioners. Mr. Deutsch, do you have any right now? Mr. Deutsch? I can't hear you.
We have a caller, Mr. G. Greer is on the line.
Okay, you can put Mr. Greer through then, and this would be for questions for the architect or the planner. Is he on?
Mr. Greer, are you on? He's not on.
Okay, then I'm gonna open it up to the commissioners. Commissioners, any questions of either of these witnesses? Commissioners? No.
Chairman, this is Commissioner Dean.
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner Odine. Vice
I'm not
Chair. Go ahead.
So, yeah, I believe that one of the 5 units, which is in size, smaller than the core size, which is minimum 600 square feet. So I believe that along with the other bulk variances, you need the variance for that unit too.
Correct.
Clarification. Right, and
That is
also,
correct, sir.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question. What was the question?
Well, we need a variance for, the one unit that, does not have the proper area, and that is correct. That is a bulk variance, which we have asked for. Yes.
Okay.
and second thing is, I'm not sure, I believe that this is article number 15. I believe this is wrong wording. If you can go over one more time, number 15, it says 1 parking space for each of the 20 studio and 1 bedroom dwelling.
That's an error.
That's the error.
That's an error.
Yes, that's it. It's not a question, it's just for clarification.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from the commissioners?
Yes, you say you have 9 parking space in there?
This is Commissioner Lorenzo?
Yes,
Yes, please identify. Okay, thank you. Commissioner Lorenzo, is questioning, there's 9 parking spaces. Is there?
That's what is shown on the plan, correct.
Is that your question? You confirming that, Mr. Lorenzo?
yes, ma'am.
Okay,
That is correct.
Okay. Any other commissioners? Okay, hearing none, I'm gonna go back. Michael, is anybody on the,
Yes, we're gonna give them one more try.
okay?
Be patient for a moment.
Any luck?
Nothing. It seems to be, they're there and then,
Well, we can't hold this meeting up all night, so I'm gonna give it, it's 7:31, I'm gonna give it till 7:35 and we're gonna try it again, otherwise I'm gonna close the meeting.
alright, so maybe we should ask if there's any other questions,
I will.
commissioners.
Okay, I think I did, but any commissioners have any other questions?
Madam Chair, just for a last word, while we
Yes.
wait.
Yes,
Yes, I am, having done a number of applications in Paterson and in other places, this would be an absolute credit to the city and specifically to the Fourth Ward redevelopment plan. Mr. Evans has done an admirable job in designing something for a number of families that would reside here, and I respectfully ask that the board look affirmatively and positively on this new addition in Fourth Ward. Thank you.
Any luck?
All right, we're gonna wait to 7:35, and if the person can't get through, we'll have to move on.
Yes, we do, because we have a long agenda this evening, so.
So it's 7:33 right now, according to my,
Yes, I agree with you. I see it also on my tablet, so we'll give it 2 more minutes and then that's it. I'm sorry, I have to close it out.
we have another caller, hold on one moment. Hello?
Hello,
Can you identify yourself?
my name is Edward Black.
Yes, Mr. Black, please state your address for the record and I will allow 3 minutes for the questions of either the planner or the architect. Please state your address, please.
271 Hamilton Avenue. I'm directly behind the proposed building.
Okay, all right, your question?
I don't have a question. I'd like to make a comment more than anything, because 3 houses away from this proposed building, one of those buildings are going up already. 500 feet from that, there are 2 more. And when you go down from East 18th Street on Godwin Avenue, East 18th on Hamilton Avenue, we have a total of 14 of these buildings already. And it's causing a problem here in the community because there's no parking. All of those buildings do not have parking. It's gotten to the point where around here, if we don't get home by 6:30, we can't find a park. I've been in this community all 62 of my years. And there are times where I actually have to park 2 blocks away and to walk back to my house. So I would prefer you not accept this particular project and have them rehabilitate the house that is already there. There are 13 or 14 of these buildings already here. Hello?
Is there anything? Yes, I'm here. Is there anything else you'd like to add to your comment?
Yes, the fact that it's adding such a stress on the community is it's overcrowding us here. I mean, it's a school 6 is right there. In the morning when you're trying to take your kids to school, the street is so clogged up that we're 4 blocks back. I mean, this building does not belong here again, because 3 houses away is already a building going up. And the fact is, 500 feet from that, there are 2 more of these buildings. And none of them have parking. That is the big issue. They block up the street, and we can't take our kids to school. And as I said, I can't find a park when I come home. And the reason why we have these rules or ordinances is to try to maintain the character of the community. And this building sitting in the middle of those 2.5 family houses doesn't even look proper. I mean, this is getting ridiculous here. And I don't want to go over 2 more blocks because then we have another 10 of these buildings on 12th Avenue and Governor Street. So we have literally within a 4-block perimeter over 22 of these buildings already with no parking. So I suggest you reject this one, have them to rehabilitate the house is already there because they're putting unnecessary stress on this community.
All right, I thank you for your comments.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Deutsch, is there anybody else?
Yes, next is.
Who?
Hello?
Mr. Greer. Go ahead,
I'm here.
please, sir. Identify yourself.
My name is G. Greer. I'm calling in concerning 122 Godwin Ave.
Yes, and I'm asking you to please put your address on the record first, please.
I'm a resident of the great city of Paterson.
No, I need your address for the record, please.
Oh, 125 Godwin Ave. Does that help you?
Yes, we need it for the record. It's what we have to do. I'm sorry, but it's what we have to do. Okay, so
Okay,
please.
no.
You have a
Don't get me
question?
wrong, I understand. Yeah.
You have a question?
Yeah,
I'm ready
I
for
have
the
a-
question.
Yeah. Okay, Chairwoman, my first question is, I don't understand why these proceedings are still being done virtual when everybody else has returned back to City Hall. Even last night, I was at a Board of Adjustment meeting. If those guys can meet in person, you guys should be meeting in person too. I want to get that out the way first. Now, my question is to you guys, to everybody that's sitting on the planning board. Have you guys even visited Galvin Ave to see the congestion that's in this area? And if you approve this building tonight, it's just going to make it worse. I don't know if you're aware, but there was a building, I want to say 4 houses from this, that was approved. That looks like it has about 20 units in here. There's another building on the next block of Town Street that's full. Are you guys taking consideration the impact and the stress that these buildings are having on the community? I challenge any of the planning board members to come with me on a tour. Now, and don't get me wrong, I understand where you guys are coming from because I'm a former commissioner on the Board of Adjustment. And I see it firsthand. You guys, it's time to stop. These developers got to come back to the table. 122 Godwin Ave is an existing building with a nice driveway. I don't know if you guys even went to visit the site, but it's an existing building. All it needs is some rehab work done to it. And it's a beautiful building where a family can live in. But to knock this building down and to build a unit with 15 apartments, and I believe it was 9 on-street parking. We all know how that goes. They say 9, the people move in there, then they want to charge them for parking, then nobody wants to pay for parking, and then it puts them out on the street. So those are my comments tonight to the planning board. I really hope you guys consider rejecting this application. I really do. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Deutsch, next person, looks like we have Mr. McDowell, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, Mr. McDowell, go ahead, state your name for the record and also your address.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, hi, Pepper McDowell.
No, I do hear. No.
Whoa,
You got some people here who are on the phones, they need to mute themselves because there's too much static and we can't record what is being said here. We can't understand it. So everybody who's there, people on the phones, you need to mute yourselves, please. Okay, let's try this again, Mr. McDowell. Please state your name and address for the record.
Pepper McDowell, 300 East 42nd Street, Paterson, New Jersey.
Hold on, East 42nd Street. Excuse me, hold on.
Yeah.
East 42nd Street, that's not near. That is not near, Godwin Avenue.
Oh, I'm sorry, Madam Chair, what was the address?
42nd Street, that's over where I
Am I
live.
prohibited to see?
Yes.
He's a resident of the city, he can comment on the
Can
application.
speak? Okay, I thought he had to live in the area.
I just want to confirm the street number again and address, please.
Okay, Mr. McDowell, go ahead.
300 East 42nd Street.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. McDowell. Your question or your comments?
Yes, I had first a quick, few quick comments. One, while I appreciate the use of technology and the virtual meeting, I think for those that may have limited access to clean Wi-Fi and apparatus, it's a little challenging for someone to come out and advocate the area with respect to the project. So this is a consideration for the next time. I would like the architect, can he speak to this, whether or not there were considerations for green space and the current traffic flow in the area for the residents of the building?
Architect?
Yeah, what's the question?
So when you plan, so the unit, the 15 unit project you have, did you have anything built in for green space? There are probably going to be families that will apply to live there, and other than some of overcrowded pocket parks, there probably is not much green space around. Have you incorporated that into your plan, sir?
Yes, we have, as I mentioned in the testimony, we have 1,000 square feet in the rear of the building for dedicated to passive recreation, green space, landscaped area. Then we also have decorative street trees along Godwin Avenue in front of our property, which would be cherry trees, which are blossoming trees that are would be in the front of the building, and then also other green space in the front of the landscape. So that would be the predominant space at the rear for the passive recreation for the tenants and guests.
Right. Well, I appreciate that the attempt in your plan to provide that green space. I think a lot of us would say that that's not a lot of space. However, let me just make this comment. As you know, that particular area of town has had a great surge in building, housing units, and it is what I believe has become questionable as to what type of stress is being put on the sewer systems there, the water systems, the grid. Definitely students from that particular unit and others will probably attend school number 6 or school number 10, which at this point is experiencing overcrowding, some of that, due to other reasons. So I just want to say that in my opinion, taking maybe a 4 apartment space and going 15 units up is definitely going to continually stress the area out where the quality of life for those residents will be at a limited experience. If we keep building units that are triple what was intended to be there, we're going to stress the school systems out, which means the kids aren't going to learn and get the quality education they need to get. As you see, the flash flood that came, we were not able to handle that because our sewer systems just can't handle. And I don't believe that there's a fee system or any kind of system where the developer is participating in retrofitting the appropriate sewer system. That's probably going to be left up to the taxpayer. I know there's some retrofitting you're doing with your sewer line. And then also, as Mr. Greer stated, the traffic in that area is very challenging. And so, those are my comments.
Okay,
so,
thank you.
If you're talking about 4, 6 units like other towns around, New Jersey. That seems more fitting. I think when we just try to, go up as far as we can, I think that's not complimenting the area. And also, Madam Chairman, I'm not sure what could be done with the notification system. Seems like many of the residents in that area, because it's a high rental area, so.
Yeah, Mr. McDowell. Well, I talked to Mr. Dwight. Yeah, but Mr. McDowell, I already spoke to, Mr. Deutsch. We have advertised this correctly, so I don't know why they would think that we were gonna be in person. With the COVID virus being what it is, this board chooses not to come there until this clears up and it's less, rampant. Okay, so we've not had any problems with our virtual meetings, we've had them. That this meeting was advertised correctly, am I correct, Mr. Deutsch?
Madam Chair, so refresh me,
Yes.
the notices go to who? Just property owners? Property owners?
Yes, only property owners.
Yes.
All right, so as you know, and kick me off as I go over my time, the
You are
majority
over
of,
time.
all right, the majority of people in those areas are not property owners. They are renters and leasers. So when we have a system that only notifies the property owners, most of the people that will have to deal with either enjoy or either suffer from these projects will not be notified. And also the habitat owners, they aren't getting notices either. So that's something that
Mr.
maybe the chair can consider. Can you consider that maybe in future?
Ask the attorney, legal,
State law. It's state law.
I'm going to ask the attorney to answer that. What is the legal process, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. McDowell, certainly, we can all appreciate your concern, but I think we have to understand it's not the city that promulgates the laws and the statutes regarding the notice for these meetings. It's a state law. So basically, this, the administration or planning board, I should say, has to abide by the state laws of notice. And the state laws regarding notice require the applicant to notify the owners of properties within a 200-foot radius. Mr. Deutsch, our planner, has reviewed those notices and has deemed them satisfactory, but this board, nor the city in general, has authority to promulgate additional notice requirements. We can only comply with what the state requires us to comply with, and I shouldn't even say us. The applicant can only comply with what the state requires it to comply with, and that is to notify property owners within a 200-foot radius and to advertise in a local newspaper so that all interested parties in the city would be able to comment. Such as yourself, you are not within the 200-foot radius, but you obviously have gotten notice of the meeting, public notice by way of, I'm assuming, newspaper publication, and that's how you found out about it here. As far as the in-person meetings as opposed to virtual, right now, the board has chosen to conduct these meetings virtually, which is the board's option under Governor Murphy's order, which was issued last year. This can change. This can change by the next meeting if the board decides to go in person. But this particular meeting is virtual. It was noticed as such, and I have no reason certainly to suspect that the notice requirements were not complied with. But certainly, I can't speak on behalf of it. I appreciate your concern.
I can appreciate that. That's why I just think that when that law was put in place, the percentage of property owners in these areas was at a higher, and that now the majority of the properties are rental residents, and it's not for,
Mr. McDowell, I hate to keep cutting you off.
they were never.
Excuse me, Mr. McDowell. I can't deal with this. Excuse me, Mr. McDowell.
Madam Chair, there's a lot of interference.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to stop right now. I've got someone on this public portion, everybody's got their microphones on, and until they turn their microphones off, I'm not gonna continue with this meeting. So who's got the microphone on? It's gotta be somebody that just got on to this public portion. So somebody, if you got your microphone on, everybody turn them off until we're ready for you. Sorry. Okay, I think we lost Mr. McDowell, but I think he made his point. I know there's nothing more that we can do about the law. The law is the law, we don't make the law, and that's just the way it goes.
I would like to make a request that IT or whoever's administering the meeting, if these individuals were not muting their microphones where other people are speaking, maybe somebody from IT can mute them while, other people are speaking, because it really is
Mr.
interfering
Deutsch,
with this
Mr.
proceeding.
Deutsch, please see if you can reach out to somebody in IT, because this is really ridiculous. I'm not gonna belabor this meeting. Okay, I don't mind listening to the people and their comments, they're entitled. But I am not gonna have all of these people talking at once and we can't understand what's going on and we can't take minutes. So I'm gonna move on, okay? We can't make the law, and I'm gonna go back to that, we can't make the law. I believe there's another caller on the phone, so should we take that call? Mr. Deutsch?
Yes, are you there, Tamara?
Yes, I am.
Go ahead, please, with your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Tamara Pugh. I reside at 126 South Glen Ave, which the 15 unit is going to be built right next door to me. We are already, I don't know why anyone is approving. Evidently, I don't think nobody on the planning board lives in Paterson, because we are already a congested city. We got overcrowded schools. We have nowhere for the kids to play. Nobody's trying to think of nothing for these children to have to do. But the planning is all about these buildings. They took down the public housing due to drug trafficking and a whole lot of other stuff that is considerably going on throughout this city. And for them to try to squeeze another building, we already have a building on the corner of Godwin and Cabell. We have one that is being built on the corner of Rosa Park and Godwin. We have one being built on 12th Ave at Rosa Park. And then we have the buildings that were already put up. Enough is enough. We're overcrowded. I have no parking. I can't even park in front of my house. And then on top of this, and because I had nephews and other family members that lived in these buildings that had these parking garages, you're charging these people to say they're $1,800 to $1,900, and then plus $100+ just to park in the garage, which means they don't want to pay extra money, so they park on the street. I think it's unfair. We were not notified. If it had not been for me coming outside my house, I would not have known that. Now, as far as when I was told that the landlords was notified, well, when I spoke to my landlord today, I got an email from them saying that they were not notified that they were building anything next door, because they would have told me. Like, they communicate with me with everything. Enough is enough. I respectfully deny and hope that you all take into consideration the people who live here, what they're going through to deal with another building. He has a building in the middle of the block being built now. Half of these buildings are not even at their capacity, and we're not even and they're not, and then you're putting up more buildings. Well, I really don't feel like there's a need for it. There's really no need for it. So I'm asking you all to reconsider and think about the folks that live in these communities and not about dollar signs. Because if you're not really helping the city by helping the people who are in need of housing, adequate housing, then you're not really helping us at all.
Right, I thank you for your comment. I thank you. I'm gonna ask a question right now. Mr. Deutsch, do we have any, other callers?
I'm checking.
Excuse me, I can hear you and I can hear the profanity. So I'm gonna ask you to turn off your mic, because we're public and it's not professional.
No other callers, Madam Chair.
Alright, then I'm gonna ask the applicant, would it be possible to reduce instead of 5 on each floor, 5 units to put 4?
I would have,
Mr. Rubin, can I speak on that?
I would have to bring in a representative of the owner who is on the call and, have them speak to that issue, cause that's beyond my pay grade.
Okay,
Well-
can you take 5 minutes to discuss
Right
it?
here.
I feel it.
I'm sorry.
He's on the call, so he could be brought right in.
Okay, where is he?
He's right here.
Oh, yes, okay, well, we know him, thank you very much.
Mr. Reed
Okay, so,
is available, and if he could be sworn,
yes,
by order.
yep, please.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm testimony about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Say your full name for the record.
Andy Reid, Director of Development.
Mr. Reed, are you involved with Paterson Fund One Llc, which is the owner of the site?
Yes, I am.
And are you authorized to speak on behalf of Paterson Fund One Llc at these proceedings?
Yes, I am.
And I assume you've been on the call all evening, so you understand, some of the neighbors', issues, and you also heard our professionals' testimony.
Yes, I do.
Heard what's been happening.
Yes.
And I believe Madam Chair has a question to pose to you.
Yes, I heard a question. She wanted to know if there's a possibility if we could, instead of having 5 units per floor, if we reduce it down to maybe 4 units per floor. I think we are amenable to that. We can do that and possibly maybe eliminate the unit that we requested a variance for the 570 square foot unit, and reconfigure the other 4 units, and obviously they will all meet the code for size of a 1-bedroom unit as per the city ordinance. I just like to also touch on a couple of things that the callers comments they were making, and I appreciate and respect their concerns. So out of that, I have no problem reducing the units from 15 to 12, which is lessening the variance for parking. Furthermore, one of the concerns I heard a couple talking about is like the sewer system here in Paterson. I hope that I'd like to, if they're listening to me, inform that every one of these developments that we do per unit, we pay a substantial fee to the city of Paterson that goes to a fund to supposed to be used for addressing and upgrading the Paterson sewer system. Furthermore, to say that these sites that we're developing, none of them have parking. There's a few that we have got approved that without parking because they were like under 50 feet wide, and they're basically like 6-unit buildings like that, and they're not right here in the vicinity of these developments. These developments they see going on, all of them have off-street on-site parking underneath the building. So many of them have misspoke about that, and I understand they say that there are some congestions due to probably during construction. We have to have materials delivered or concrete trucks from the street, and then when we do that, and we obstruct the flow of traffic by the ordinance of the city of Paterson, we hire off-duty police officers to direct the traffic for us. We can't just close down streets and cause traffic jams without having a police officer directing that traffic. And I apologize to any resident may be harmed to that, but that's probably the cost of improving and doing developments in these communities. I think one of the greatest stress on these communities are the vagrants and use a term that we use, junkies or homeless people that are causing decay, throwing trash around out there in the street. I think that's a bigger stress on the community. And part of our goal and objective is to help clean up all this this blight and terrible conditions that we have in the fourth ward. I'm a product of the fourth ward. I own several properties in the fourth ward, and I have a special love for the fourth ward. So, and I'm pretty sure all of them know me. In fact, Mr. Black was a science teacher at East High School when I was going, so I'm familiar with him as well. So, this is my community as also. I'm proud to be part of and working for the developer of the fourth ward. I mean, there was a time, I thought I was visiting the fourth ward. Like I said, I'm in the fourth ward every day, almost all day. And there was a time when almost tears came to my eyes about the conditions of the fourth ward. I know some people don't like to see change, some people do like to see change, but this is the cost of doing business. And I'm pretty sure one day, a lot of people are going to look at the fourth ward and say, wow, we cannot believe this is the fourth ward. And I think that we are really improving the fourth ward. I think we're going to make a better, bigger, and stronger fourth ward. I think the city has obligations, and the state has obligations to make sure that there's adequate, schools in this district and other districts and everything to educate our children. These one-bedroom units, by the nature of our business, most of these units rent out. These people don't even have. They're used for single people or a couple. Then once they start having a family, they move on to other properties or properties with a bigger capacity for them, or even get themselves on their feet and they go swim and buy a home or stuff like that. So I think that this property and this development will have a positive impact in the long run on the city. And I think that we are helping the city council achieve their goal of redevelopment in the fourth ward.
Right. But Mr. Reed, let me ask you something. So if you were to reduce, and you're willing to do that down to 4 units, okay, what would we do with the extra space?
The architect could probably briefly answer that. I'm pretty sure we could probably add a little bit more space to the size of the one-bedroom units. And if we were to get approval, or if we take under consideration, I respectfully request that maybe you can have your planner review the revisions administratively and sign off as your recommendations.
I have Commissioner Udine, Vice Chair Udine, who has his hand up. He would like to ask a question.
Sure.
Thank you, Chairwoman. We have heard from all the participants who commented, and as concerned resident, when they make comments, it's easy for us to balance public good with private interest. And I thank everyone, those who participated. And thank you, Mr. Anderson. You have agreed to come down to 4 units in each floor, which is amazing. Is it possible to have maybe 5th unit, which you wanted to have? Can we have a common room or a study room in each unit instead of just making 4 computers?
Well, the architect, dude, I'm pretty sure that in other words, you're saying that in all of the 4 units create some type of little study area?
Yes.
No,
Okay.
no, I think he meant where that 1 bedroom is, to make that particular unit a study area. Am I correct?
Yeah, the one which is need variance, 575 or so.
Make that like an amenity area for all the
Yes.
students?
That's what he's saying.
I have no objection to that. I'm agreeable to that. And I'm pretty sure our architect.
You can have one big variance that you don't need to ask for that variance.
That's right.
And we're going to have 4 other complete units, which is covering what the requirements are. And we're going to covering the study place for our children. And that is important. If you do that, I think that would be a great project to me.
Listen, I have
an explanation, Madam Chair, of how many units would be acceptable to the board, because we're really talking about
Four on each.
numbers.
total 12 units.
12 units in total for this building.
Yes. 4 on each floor. So the undersized unit, we would dedicate that to
As a
like
community.
a baby room on each floor for the use of those tenants.
Right.
We could do that, and we could move forward with the application. We'll present that as a conformance.
I I'm gonna do that now. I'm gonna wind it up and ask for, I'm gonna ask for a motion. So, I mean, if everybody's done, I think we've heard everybody. We've heard we know what the community's, concerns are. Some are valid, some may not be. We are just gonna move forward. We've heard everything. Everyone has to make up their own mind, where they wanna go with this. The applicant has agreed to lower the building to 4 units per floor, with a community room on each floor. And I believe that's all the corrections. Am I correct, Mr. Aquaviva?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just had a couple, question for Mr. Deutsch and just a couple quick comments.
Yep.
So what now, when there was 15 units, I'm sorry, let me get it back in front of me. There were 9 parking spaces proposed, 15 required, so a parking variance for 6. What's the requirement, the parking requirement now for the, application, which is, well, I should say the revised application, which consists of 12 units?
12 parking spaces.
All right, so they need, there's no variance needed for parking.
I believe,
Will be a variance for 3 parking spaces.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, there's not, okay, there's 12 required, 9 are being proposed, and now the parking variance is for 3 as opposed to 6.
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
That's the bulk variance request, 3.
Okay, Madam Chair, I just wanted to put a couple brief things on the record from what I heard from the public. There was one member of the public who basically made a statement that, she didn't believe that the planning board members lived in the city of Paterson. I just want to go on the record and state that is a requirement for being a member of the planning board, and every member of the planning board resides in the city of Paterson, so.
Right, and I've also, I have been accused of not living in the city of Paterson, and I've been on somebody's Facebook, so we all know that. But we all live in Paterson. That is a requirement. Thank you, Mr. Aquaviva.
The only other thing I wanted to say is, certainly, the nature of the objections of the citizens and the neighbors are very justified and warranted, and the board can give whatever weight the board wants to give to that. But I just wanted to state that some of the technical things that the neighbors were saying, that the citizens were saying, such as, overload of sewers and water problems, and that really should be in the context of expert witnesses. And there were no expert witnesses presented tonight in opposition to the application. The only expert witnesses that the board heard were the expert witnesses that were produced by the applicant. And quite frankly, that's the only expert testimony that was given tonight. So I just wanted to point that out to the board. Certainly the board can give whatever weight it wants to give to the statements that were made, but I just wanted to clarify those couple of things for the board. That's it, Madam Chair.
Okay. All right, so there being nothing left, I'm going to ask if any commissioner would like to make a motion on this application.
This is Commissioner Dean, I'll go for.
Yes, go ahead, please.
On the application of Paterson Fund One Llc, 175 Broadway, Paterson, New Jersey, 07524, property address 122-124 Garden Avenue, Block 3514, Lot 8. I propose that the board attorney prepare a resolution granting the site plan approval of variances subject to city engineer approval and HEB soil conservation district approval. And do we have to mention the so we are having 12 units, 12 parking spaces are required, 9 are provided, so 3 parking spaces variance is requested along with the other block variances.
That's fine, Commissioner.
Okay, do I have a second?
second,
Okay, who is that from, please?
Councilman Kalik.
Councilman Kalik, yes. Councilman Kalik, thank you so much. I couldn't say, I thought it was you, but I didn't see your mouth moving, so, okay, thank you. All right, roll call, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Vice Chairman Adine.
Yes.
Councilman Kalik.
Yes.
Commissioner Forestieri.
Yes.
Commissioner Lorenzo.
No.
Commissioner Roman.
Yes.
And Commissioner Santana.
Yes.
Okay.
And
The application is passed by vote.
no, excuse me, you forgot to ask me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, Madam Chair. Madam Chair,
Yes.
the application is passed by vote of 6-1.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Madam Chair, we have all of the witnesses for 133 16th Avenue. Most respectfully, could we move right into that? Because the people are still there. They're all on the same call.
What people? You mean for your
Same
witnesses?
witnesses, same people. They're still sitting right here.
Is that Paramount?
No. It's
Paterson qualified community zone.
Hold on, one moment, please. Okay. Okay, so this is Paterson Qualified Opportunity Zone, LLC, 175 Broadway, Paterson, New Jersey. The property is located at 127, 129-131, and 133-135 16th Avenue, Block 4211, lots 40, 41, and 42. Mr. Rubin, you are representing this application?
Yes, Michael Rubin appearing for Paterson Qualified Opportunity Zone, LLC, for 133-135 16th Avenue.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay, so on a lot with existing structures and parking, the applicant proposes to demolish the existing buildings and construct a new 4-story residential building with a total of 24 units. First floor proposes a lobby area, package room, mailboxes, a utility room, 2 stairwells, an elevator, and parking for 20 parking spaces. The second through 4th floor proposes 6 one-bedroom units and 2 two-bedroom units on each floor, and a 369 square foot tenant amenity space on each floor. The roof plan indicates mechanical units and a 2,500 square foot roof terrace accessible by an elevator and 2 stairwells. The parcel has lot area of 7,806 square feet and has frontage along 16th Avenue. The proposal is within the RA-2 zone of the 5th Ward Redevelopment Plan. Variances are requested for the following. Front yard setback as a minimum of 3 feet is required and 0 feet is proposed. Both side yard setbacks as a minimum of 5 feet is required and 0 feet is provided. A rear yard setback as a minimum of 20 feet is required and a minimum of 5.3 feet is proposed. A number of building stories as 3.5-story building is permitted and a 4-story building is proposed. Lot building coverage as a maximum lot building coverage of 60% is permitted and a lot building coverage of 87% is proposed. Lot impervious coverage is a maximum of lot impervious coverage of 80% is permitted and 90% is proposed. And parking at 27 off-street parking spaces is required and 20 off-street parking spaces are proposed. It requires site plan approval and bulk variances. And Mr. Deutsch, would you like to give us your review at this time?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Property taxes and sewer charges are current. Persons having a 10% or greater ownership interest in Paterson Qualified Opportunity Zone LLC are Matthew Florio, Jonathan Jonish, and Alan Shanifiker, all providing an address of 175 Broadway, Paterson, New Jersey. As indicated in the property survey prepared by Stephen Kessner, PE&LS, the parcel is rectangular shaped and has frontage of 125 feet on 16th Avenue, a western side property line that measures 60.3 feet, a rear property line that measures 125.10 feet, and an eastern side property line that measures 64.6 feet. Parcel is located 25 feet west of the intersection of Carroll Street and 16th Avenue. The parcel's area is 7,806 square feet or 0.18 acres. The parcel has existing and adjacent 1- and 2-story structures upon it, with the remainder of the parcel being paved. 16th Avenue is a one-way street in an easterly direction, and Carroll Street is a 2-way directional street. Evans Architects has prepared a 4-page architectural submittal revised to April 12, 2021. Drawing SK1 indicates the site plan, the zoning ordinance table, site notes, key map, survey, lighting details, and drainage details. The proposed site plan indicates that the building is to be rectangular shaped and be placed on the front and side property lines. The building is proposed to cover 87% of the lot. At the corner of 16th Avenue and Carroll Street, a one-story grocery store exists. Vehicular access into the site will be from a new depressed curb cut on 16th Avenue. Drawing S2 is the site plan details and soil erosion plan. The plan indicates the stabilized construction access, the sediment filter fence detail, the water connection, and a concrete vertical curb and roadway pavement widening. Drawing SK1 are floor plans. The first floor plan indicates the main access into the building on the left front of the building. A hallway leads to either a door to stairs to the upper floors, the elevator, a package room, or to the 20-space parking garage. A refuse and recyclable room is accessed from the interior of the garage. A bicycle rack area is also provided. An additional staircase is located on the right front of the building with a door leading to the exterior. The second, third, and fourth floor plans are identical in layout. Each floor has two two-bedroom units and 6 one-bedroom units. The two two-bedroom units on each floor contain 900 square feet and 908 square feet. The 6 one-bedroom units on each floor contain 602, 603, 610, 619, and 622 square feet. All 24 of the proposed units contain a mechanical closet, a full bathroom, and a combined kitchen, dining, living area. The second floor contains a 369 square foot fitness center. The third floor contains a 369 square foot laundry room, and the fourth floor contains a 369 square foot community room. Drawing SK2 are the building elevations. The front elevation indicates a view from 16th Avenue and indicates the main entry door, the gated garage access, and the emergency stairwell access door. A brick veneer surrounds the decorative garage gates. The 3 upper floors indicate a partial brick facade around the staircase and a stucco facade around the upper story windows. A decorative cornice is at the roof level. Left side elevation faces towards the existing corner grocery building, and it indicates a stucco facade with no windows. The rear elevation indicates the parking on the first floor level and a stucco building finish surrounding the windows on the upper floors. The right side elevation indicates a stucco building facade with no windows. The building has a top height of 41 feet and has a flat roof. The intent of the RA-2 residential district of the 5th Ward Redevelopment Plan is to permit a more intensive residential use of land with various types of dwellings. The surrounding existing dwellings are a mixture of older multifamily dwellings, although there are newer 2-family dwellings in the area on Pearl Street, and a new 3-story building on the southwest corner of Pearl Street and Summer Street has been completed. The applicant requests variances for the following conditions for this proposed 24-unit structure. Front yard setback has a minimum of 3 feet is required and 0 feet is proposed. Both side yard setbacks has a minimum of 5 feet is required and 0 feet is provided. Rear yard setback has a minimum of 20 feet is required and a minimum of 5.3 feet is proposed. Number of building stories as a 3.5-story building is permitted and a 4-story building is proposed. Lot building coverage as a maximum lot building coverage of 60% is permitted and lot building coverage of 87% is proposed. Lot impervious coverage as a maximum lot impervious coverage of 80% is permitted and 90% is proposed, and parking of 27 off-street parking spaces are required and 20 off-street parking spaces are proposed. 3,600 square feet of amenity and open space is required and 3,607 square feet is provided. 1,107 square feet within the building and 2,500 square feet on the roof terrace which is accessible from both staircases and the elevator. The remainder of the roof includes mechanical units. Each one-bedroom unit requires one parking space for a total of 18 off-street parking spaces, and each two-bedroom unit requires 1.5 parking spaces for a total of 9 parking spaces. Combined, a total of 27 off-street parking spaces are required and 20 off-street parking spaces are provided. A variance is requested. As this is a redevelopment area, the planning board must determine whether the granting of the requested variances to allow the number of dwelling units proposed by the applicant is appropriate for the lot and the immediate surrounding area. Residential apartment construction is permitted within the redevelopment area. A mixture of different types of residential units is encouraged. The planning board should determine whether the land area of this parcel is suitable for the number and type of apartment units proposed. A note on the plan indicates that the entire site and site perimeter is to be equipped with video security throughout public areas and site lighting along the traveled public way and parking area. Surveillance cameras are to connect to the City of Paterson Police Department system. So it'll be the responsibility of the applicant and/or the preparer of the plan to obtain a letter from the city engineer indicating the plans have been satisfactorily reviewed prior to the plans being released to the construction official. Surrounding land use. This proposal is in the Wrigley Park section of the city within the 5th Ward redevelopment plan. The area is zoned residential with neighborhood commercial areas located at some corner intersections. In conclusion, the applicant estimates the cost of this proposal at approximately $3 million. So the applicant should incorporate the design elements contained within the 5th Ward redevelopment plan on the site and within the building. On April 26, 2021, an application was approved to construct a 4-story residential building with a total of 15 units at 71-87 16th Avenue, Block 4317, Lot 22, with 11 off-street parking spaces. This is your staff review for this proposal, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you, Mr. Deutsch. Mr. Rubin?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair.
Yep.
Yes, Mr. Evans, if he could be sworn for this application.
Please raise your right hand. With Mr. Evans.
Are you?
Do you swear affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
State your full name for the record.
Matthew Evans, architect, 470 Chamberlain Ave, Paterson, New Jersey.
Yes, and we accept him as an expert witness. Thank you. Please proceed.
And given you are testifying as a licensed architect of the state of New Jersey this evening,
Yes.
tell us what we have. Mr. Evans, what are we doing on this site? Tell us. And this is a usual site, so you'll have to tell us a little bit about the site also.
Let me see if I can share this. Hold on. Lost it. Trying to share this here. Hold on. Minimize. One second. Yes. Not working. Hold on.
Hey, no.
That's different. That's a different. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna close that out so I don't have a problem. Okay, can you see that?
Garbled, Matt.
Okay, can you see the site plan?
Yes, we can see it. Go ahead, proceed, please.
So basically, in keeping with Mr. Deutsch's report, Here is the site. It's a little irregular for the area. It's a shallow lot, and it's a wide lot on 16th Avenue. Right now, it's a vacant lot, and we are proposing to put these apartments on the site. Going through from the site plan, going back to the architecturals again, we have a large parking area, which we have 20 parking spaces, which is private garage parking. They all meet the requirements for the clearances and the parking berth sizes. Handicap parking is provided also. We have all the utilities, bike rack, storage on the first floor. And then going to the second through fourth floor, they're dissimilar. And we have, on each floor, it's a little bit different. We have a fitness center on one floor, and the third floor is the laundry room, and the fourth floor is a meeting amenity room. So that's all interior.
Matt, can you enlarge that a little bit for those of us? Yeah. Thank you.
So if you look at the third floor, we have a large, almost 370 square foot laundry room for the tenants. We have the fourth floor is the amenity area, same size. And where's the other floor? Oh yeah, it's on the floor itself. So then we have the fitness center on the second floor. So each floor has a different amenity space. And then we have, and that's all interior. So we have all the apartments which meet the minimum requirements. They're all handicap accessible. They have large open kitchen living spaces, large bedrooms, and they're basically down a corridor down the center of the building, which accesses the second stair, fire stair, and then we have the first stair, stair number one, and the elevator, which brings you up to each floor. Going to the roof plan, we have a roof terrace, which has the balance of the amenity space, which is going to be for the tenants, and that's all towards the front of the building. We have 2,500 square feet. We have a decking and passive recreation space for the tenants to occupy. Then in the back, it would be screened with mechanical units for all the units behind that. So that's the space. Then the elevations we have, as Mr. Deutsch also mentioned, we have the garage entry, the garage grills, the different materials on the stucco, and then as the rear elevation, you can see the cars, the parking for the cars. Let me see if I can get you the. I'm going to share the page.
You also have rooftop area?
Yes.
Matt, this is, as you can see from the rendering of the building, this is a little different configuration than most other buildings in the area. This is a little different. Why? Is that because we have 4 lots that have now been consolidated into one lot? And that's the way this property is configured to put a new building on it?
Yeah, so we have, you can see the rendering. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yes, Matt.
Good. So that's the rendering of the building, how it would be from 16th Avenue. We have street trees along the front. There is also landscaping to the rear of the building. And this is how basically the photorealistic imagery would be transposed to construction once it would be approved and built. So that's how it is. There's a one-story market next to it, and that's how we're proposing it. And
What is the exterior made out of? What is the material?
different materials, we have different stuccos, we have an architecturally aesthetic, cornice, which is, would be built up, and then we have, brick for the remainder of the building. As you can see, the stair tower has brick, and the front of the building on the main level, brick is a little bit more durable, takes a little bit more abuse, so, we have brick on the ground floor and some of the other areas to break up the different materials.
Pat, this property is in the 5th Ward redevelopment plan. Do you have an opinion as to whether this property, as it is being proposed, fits into the parameters of the requirements of the 5th Ward redevelopment plan?
Yes, we looked at the ordinance and we designed this building in keeping with the parameters, basically the guidelines, the aesthetic guidelines. And I feel that, being the type of lot that it is, irregularly shaped, it was a little challenging to design within this site, but we were able to provide parking, 20 parking spaces, and also amenity space, landscaping, and other amenities internally.
Thank you. That's all the questions of direct examination I would have of this witness. The next witness would be Mr. Williams. If
Yes,
he could-
please. Yes, please.
There he is. And if he could be sworn, please.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I most certainly do.
Say your full name for the record.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is George Weedle Williams with Initiating Group, headquartered at 105 Grove Street, Suite number 3 in Montclair, New Jersey.
And we accept him as an expert witness. Thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you. You are testifying this evening as a professional planner.
Yes, that is correct.
And could you please tell us, what do we have here at 133-135 16th Avenue in the 5th Ward?
Certainly. I would begin by saying I concur with the report offered by the board's planner, Mr. Deutsch, in terms of the description of the site, surrounding area, and the reliefs that are being sought. I would also just echo a few comments by Mr. Evans, who preceded me in his testimony, that the lot is currently vacant. The lot is irregularly shaped and sized, and that it is unusually large, as council mentioned, in comparison to the other lots in the immediate area, because we've consolidated approximately 4 lots. It's also in the redevelopment zone, or the 5th Ward redevelopment area, as both council have mentioned and Mr. Deutsch. I would like to just take a moment to speak about the significance of the redevelopment plan and the redevelopment area. I typically speak initially about the purposes of the plan, and I neglect to just remind the board what the intent of redevelopment, the local housing and redevelopment law is, and the redevelopment plan. And so very briefly, I would just begin by commending the city of Paterson for both their master plan and their ward redevelopment plans. Local housing and redevelopment law is intended to revitalize and stimulate development in areas that have been stubbornly depressed. And I have always contended that the Paterson redevelopment plans are successful because they get implemented. And one of the things I neglected to say in the last application, but I will mention again very briefly in this application, is that the 5th Ward redevelopment plan is based on the following. And I'm reading from the redevelopment plan directly. The 5th Ward redevelopment area has for decades been facing issues of neglect and lack of investment into the bricks and mortar of the community, and is in need of attention towards revitalization. City of Paterson has a long history of using redevelopment as a tool for proactively planning the city's future and stimulating new development in historically underserved areas. My firm writes a number of redevelopment plans for a variety of communities, And again, I'm always taken by the fact that the Paterson redevelopment plans, unlike so many other redevelopment plans we see, is actually succeeding because it's being implemented. And by being implemented, it addresses the conditions of blight that cause the designation. And those conditions tend to be vacant properties, abandoned buildings, unpaid taxes, and indices of social malaise such as crime, etc. And so when you hear the applicant through the voice of Mr. Reed speak about the intention of these applications to build communities, that is spot on with what the Paterson redevelopment plan intends. In terms of the specific goals and objectives of the Fifth Ward redevelopment plan, they are very similar to that of the Fourth Ward redevelopment plan. Quickly highlighting, revitalize the Fifth Ward of the city. That is what is intended. When you look at the site currently, it is vacant and in subpar standard or condition. Reduce the blighting impacts of abandoned and vacant properties. Again, this application, if approved, would address that goal. Provide quality new housing options for area residents. And I can't say enough about how this goal would be achieved if you approve the application. Mr. Evans went through his attention to not only the design of the exterior of the property, but his focus on providing quality amenities and dwelling units for area residents, including the rooftop terrace, which is very significant in terms of contemporary urban infill design. I won't read.
Comment on several variances that are needed in this application.
Yes, I can. I would begin by stating that we concur with Mr. Deutsch's recitation of the variances and go directly to the proof if that is permissible. I would just add parenthetically again, not only does this application advance the goals and objectives of the redevelopment plan, but it also does the same for the master plan. And as this board knows, the master plan and redevelopment plans plural, were designed to complement one another, both with an eye to stimulating development in underserved areas. In my opinion, the C1 context would be appropriate because of the unusual shape and size of this lot, but the preferable context would be the C2 context, which allows this board to consider the benefits versus detriments balancing test, as well as if the overall development package is a better zoning alternative than a strict application of the redevelopment plan. Let me pause there very briefly and say, in the context of the local housing and redevelopment law, because the overarching goal is to stimulate the economy of underserved neighborhoods or neighborhoods in decline, boards are encouraged in applications within a redevelopment area to look at them with a bit of flexibility, or the language of greater liberality. And in that context, I would submit to this board that the relief could be taken as a whole. There is a court case, the Pullen court case, which gives the boards that latitude and says that if you look at the overall development package and the benefits that flow from the overall development, you can look at the individual deviations from your code as a group, and I would submit that would be appropriate in this application. C2 requires a showing of the purposes of zoning would be advanced, the benefits outweigh the detriments, and that there would be no substantial detriment to the public good or substantial impairment to the zone plan. In my professional opinion as a planner, a licensed planner in New Jersey, I will submit to this board that the following purposes of zoning in the municipal land use law would be advanced if you were to grant our bulk and area deviations. The first is subsection A, to encourage municipal action to guide the appropriate use or development of all lands in the state in a manner which will promote the public health, safety, morals, and welfare. Again, that subsection is particularly appropriate in redevelopment areas where, as in this case, we are taking a vacant site in a blighted area and removing it, or replacing it rather, with a quality infill development, which de facto increases or improves the health, safety, morals, and general welfare. Similarly, subsection I, to promote desirable visual environment through creative development techniques and good civic design. As in the last application, in my professional opinion, the testimony you've heard from Mr. Evans demonstrates that the visual environment would be improved. The creative civic design was also touched on by Mr. Evans, and I will just say again, Mr. Evans and the applicant deserve some credit for being very creative in this matter, particularly with the interior amenity spaces and the rooftop amenity, which is a very contemporary approach to urban development, in my professional opinion and experience. Also, the fenestration and building materials that Mr. Evans mentioned, all designed to be aesthetically appealing, thus advancing subsection I. Subsection J is to prevent urban sprawl and degradation. You've heard me mention this in other applications. The intent is to focus investment in areas like urban areas, like the city of Paterson, and particularly in redevelopment areas where you've got existing infrastructure. In this case, your proximity to public transportation and other urban amenities. So if you were to grant our application, all of those would be advanced. Last but not least, and you've heard me say this before as well, the advancement of a state policy is considered a special reason. In this case, the smart growth policy of New Jersey would be advanced if you were to approve our application. In that context, in my professional opinion, the benefits far outweigh the detriments. In my professional opinion, there are no detriments, quite frankly, but the benefits are significant. Quality housing, infill development, removal of a vacant lot in a redevelopment area, and the promotion of your redevelopment plan and master plan goals and objectives. In terms of the parking variance, it is relatively minimal. You heard the recitation of that proof. I would just submit in the same context as the C2, the parking is supported by the city's master plan. Very quickly, the quote from the master plan that I referred to is, while insufficient off-street parking can be problematic, excessive off-street parking has its own negative consequences as well. Providing off-street parking can be expensive and even cost prohibitive for a developer. And it also uses space that could potentially be put to another productive use. In this particular application, the applicant is responding directly to the Paterson master plan by right-sizing the supply of parking on site and using the space efficiently and strategically so that the amenities that Matt Evans spoke to earlier are a possibility. More importantly, that section of the master plan is particularly important given the purpose of the redevelopment plan, which is to incentivize investment and development by redevelopers in a blighted area. And so that flexibility that's spoken about in the master plan, in my opinion, supports the parking variance perfectly. That would be the conclusion of my direct testimony, but I'm always willing and able to respond to any questions.
Mr. Williams, just one last question. In your professional opinion, is everything that we're doing in this application promoting and as to the Fifth Ward redevelopment plan? Are we doing what we're doing here? Is it in league with and in support of the redevelopment plan for the Fifth Ward?
Yes, Councilor, it is 100% comporting with the Fifth Ward redevelopment plan. Again, Paterson being prescient and saying we've got to use the local housing and redevelopment law as a tool to stimulate a stubbornly non-performing section of Paterson. And what you have before you is a direct response to the Fifth Ward redevelopment plan.
Thank you. Madam Chair, those are the direct questions I would have of this witness, the prior witness being our architect. You're on, can't hear you.
Madam Chair, you're muted.
We just have Mr. Reed left, if we need him.
He's here.
Yes, you have him if we need him. We don't need him now, but that's the only one you have left.
That is correct. He is available.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm gonna open it up to the public. If anyone in the public. Excuse me, I gotta get my number again. Okay, if anyone in the public has any questions of either the architect, or the, planner on this particular application, if you have any questions, please call in at 973-321-1579. The meeting ID is 711-680-001. Mr. Deutsch, do we have anyone calling in? If not, I'm gonna open it up to the commissioners. I can't hear you.
You can't hear me. We have no callers. That's just, no callers.
Okay, I'm gonna open it up to the commissioners. Commissioners, does anyone have any questions, commissioners, of either one of these witnesses? Commissioners? Okay, so if we have no callers and no questions, then I'm going to ask for a motion on this particular application. Would anyone like to make a motion on this application? Commissioners?
Yes, this is Commissioner Dean one more time. Yes, I'll go for it.
Yes, please. Please, thank you.
On the application of Paterson, yeah, that's right. On the application of Paterson Qualified Opportunity Zone LLC, 175 Broadway, Paterson, New Jersey, 07505. Property address 127, 129-131, and 133-135, 16th Avenue, Block 4211, lots 40, 41, and 42. I move that the board attorney prepare a resolution granting the site plan approval, block variances, subject to city engineer and HEB Soil Conservation District approval.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second.
And that was that Commissioner Lorenzo?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay, thank you. Roll call, please. Mr. Aquaviva?
Here we go. Vice Chairman Udine,
So yes.
Commissioner Lorenzo,
Yes.
Commissioner Forestieri,
Yes.
Councilman Kalik. Councilman Kalik,
Yes.
Commissioner Roman,
Yes.
Commissioner Santana,
Yes.
and Chairwoman Rutherford.
Yes.
The application is approved by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you for giving us, Madam Chair, and members of the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, then I guess we're moving on to. Give me a moment, because I have to pull it up. I couldn't print this one, so excuse me. Okay, my system just froze, so just excuse me, bear with me. Okay, so, we're moving on to, this would be Paramount Assets LLC. Mr. Deutsch?
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay, so, let me just get this up one moment. Okay, so Paramount Assets, LLC, 45 Academy Street, Newark, New Jersey, 268 Carroll Street, 272 Carroll Street, and 355-367 Market Street, lots 4320, lots 16, 18, 26, 27, and 28. I see Mr. Mariconda. Mr. Mariconda, are you representing this applicant?
That is correct, Madam Chair. Alan Maricondo on behalf of Paramount Assets.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so on this proposal, on a combined 44,012 square foot parcel. The applicant proposes to use an existing 10,371 square foot first floor building space that was formerly used as a food retail store as a proposed laundromat containing 90 washers and additional stacked dryers. The adjacent and existing one-story Dollar General store will remain. This proposal is located within the C-1 Neighborhood Commercial District of the Fifth Ward Redevelopment Plan. An existing conforming condition, the rear yard setback will continue as a minimum rear yard setback of 20 feet is required and a rear yard setback of 3.73 feet exists. An off-street parking variance is requested, 68 off-street parking spaces are required, based upon 1 parking space for every 2 washing machines, which based upon 90 machines equals 45 parking spaces, and an additional 15 parking spaces are required for the existing 8,942 square foot dollar store, as 1 parking space is required per 600 square feet. As the applicant is providing 29 off-street parking spaces, a variance for 31 off-street parking spaces is requested, requires site plan approval and bulk variances.
Madam Chair, may I say something before we begin?
Yes,
Okay, I just want to put on the record, and I know Mr. Maricon is aware of this as well. I received a notification earlier in the week about an individual, I don't know if the individual was an objector or had some sort of interest in this application, who has some sort of a disability issue. They raised that issue. I don't know if that person is logged in at this point, but if that person is, I would ask that they at least give us an indication that they're logged in. If not, then I would suggest that the meeting proceed as advertised. So is there anybody here, is there an individual here who notified me or Mr. Deutsch or Mr. Mariconda about their interest in the application, expressing some sort of an issue, a disability issue, if you will? Mr. Deutsch, has anybody called in to that effect?
No.
Okay, Madam Chair, we can proceed.
all right, let's proceed. Okay, so Mr. George, please give us your review.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Persons holding 10% or more stockholder interest in Paramount Assets Llc and or 355 Market Street LLC are Ronnie Levy and Maurice Levy, each holding a 50% interest in providing an address of 45 Academy Street, 5th floor, Newark, New Jersey. Property taxes and sewer charges are current. William Held Associates has prepared a survey of the property dated April 26, 2012. The survey indicates that the parcel is frontage on Summer Street, Market Street, and Carroll Street. Parcel's area of 44,012 square feet or 1.01 acres. Survey also indicates a 1-story masonry building previously divided into 2 separate retail spaces and paved surfaces covering the remainder of the lots. Evans Architects has prepared a 2-page plan revised to July 1st, 2021.
Excuse me, I do see somebody just logged in. An M. Levy. I don't mean to cut you off, but do we need to address this?
That I believe is one of the owners of the LLC.
Okay, then I'm sorry. Go, continue, please.
That is correct.
Evans Architects has prepared a 2-page plan revised to July 1st, 2021. Sheet S1 is the site plan. The drawing indicates the zoning ordinance data, a note stating that all utilities and utility connections are existing and are to remain, that no new utility conditions are proposed or required for the new occupant, and that no new lighting or drainage structures are proposed. All lighting and drainage and impervious areas are to remain. Also shown on the plan is the site location plan and the zoning ordinance data. This proposal is on the northern side of Market Street, located between Summer Street to the west and Carroll Street to the east. A retail food store previously occupied the space that is proposed to now be a laundromat. The other space is presently occupied by a Dollar General store. The applicant has supplied a certificate of occupancy for the Dollar Store. The surrounding area contains the Roberto Clemente Park, a public school, and a mixture of retail, commercial establishments, and residential units in 3-story buildings. To access the premises by vehicles, a curb cut and driveway with 6 spaces exists on Summer Street. Additionally, an existing entrance driveway is indicated from Market Street on the western side of the building. On Carroll Street, two driveways exist, two exiting driveways exist that are separated by an existing 2.5-story dwelling that is not part of this application. Site plan indicates parking for an additional 23 vehicles on the western side of the building. The existing Dollar General refuse area is also indicated on the plan. There are no additions to the building proposed under this application. Drawing A1 indicates a proposed laundromat floor plan and the building elevations. Notes on the plan indicate that the existing storefront and entry are to remain. A new sign is proposed. The entire laundromat tenant space is 10,371 square feet. The laundromat processing area for the 90 proposed washers is 1,423 square feet, as indicated in a letter dated September 10th, 2021 from Matthew Evans, R.A. The proposed floor plan indicates change machines, 2 bathrooms, a sprinkler room, seating areas, a boiler room, folding tables, and dryers. There are 2 access areas into the laundromat. Dry cleaning establishments and laundromats are a permitted use in the C1 neighborhood commercial district, providing that they do not occupy more than 2,000 square feet of floor area. Waiting areas, child play areas, and other areas not utilized for the washing or other treatment of clothing shall not be counted towards the 2,000 square foot floor area maximum. The proposal requires a variance for parking. 60 off-street parking spaces are required based upon 1 parking space for every 2 washing machines, which based upon 90 machines equals 45 parking spaces, and an additional 15 parking spaces are required for the existing 8,942 square foot Dollar General store, as 1 parking space is required per 600 square feet. As the applicant is providing 29 off-street parking spaces, a variance for 31 off-street parking spaces is requested. An existing non-conforming condition for rear yard setback will continue, as a minimum rear yard setback of 20 feet is required and a rear yard setback of 3.73 feet exists. The applicant proposes to be open 24 hours, 7 days per week, with the greatest use periods to be between 5 o'clock p.m. and 7 o'clock p.m. A minimum of 2 persons will be employed. It shall be the responsibility of the applicant and/or the preparer of the plan to obtain a letter from the city engineer indicating the plans have been satisfactorily reviewed prior to the plans being released to the construction official. Surrounding land uses. This proposal is within the Sandy Hill section of the city. Sandy Hill Park is also known as Roberto Clemente Park. Additionally, there are public schools and religious facilities in the area, as well as commercial and residential properties. In conclusion, the applicant estimates the cost of this proposal at approximately $500,000. That is your staff review for this proposal, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you. Mr. Maricondo?
Yes, good evening again, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Al America on the 726 Market Street, Paterson, on behalf of the applicant. Paramount Assets is before you this evening, as per Mr. Deutsch's report, with a request to bring in a new state-of-the-art laundromat on the subject property, which is already commercial in nature, and the proposed laundromat is a approved use as your planner has indicated. Paramount, as some of the commissioners will know, has been before the planning board numerous times over the last 10 to 15 years, not too often within the last couple of years. However, Paramount has established itself as an established developer, providing quality mixed-use development throughout various parts of the city.
some of the commissioners may be aware of some of the other sites where we have been very successful. This application tonight is essentially replacing the food retail facility with the laundromat. Frankly, we feel this is a better, more appropriate use for the area, given the need for the laundromat and the numerous other food facilities in the area at the present time. So we feel in conjunction with the Dollar General store, which the applicant has owned the property with this tenant for many years, has been successful. We think this is going to be a continuation of that success if the board so deems it appropriate for approval. We'll be calling Mr. Evans and the applicant as our witnesses this evening, and therefore I'll call Mr. Evans at this time.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm testimony about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Say your full name for the record.
Evans, architect planner, 470 Chamberlain Ave, Paterson, New Jersey.
We accept him as an expert witness, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Evans will be testifying as an architect and planner in this application. Mr. Evans, could you give us an overview of the site, what it presently contains, and a little bit about the surrounding area?
Okay, so I'll post the plans. We have a 2-sheet submission. Basically, you can see from the site plan, we have the shaded area, which would be the proposed laundromat. And we have the existing Dollar General adjacent to that, with the parking to the side and rear off Carroll, Market, and Summer Street. So that's the site plan. There's not going to be any changes to the exterior of the tenant space. It's basically interior, new tenant and tenant alterations. As you can see, the elevation shows that the existing configuration of the building, the Dollar General to the right, and then the laundromat to the left. So it was a supermarket before. A lot of those commercial aspects would remain in place. And what we're doing is retrofitting the whole interior to put in a state-of-the-art laundry facility. It has going to the front. We have basically a nice open area, seating area for the people washing their clothes. They have a passive recreation space there. There's the other amenities included. We have the handicap bathrooms, and we have the change machines, and then there's a boiler room for the units. And then we have basically the laundromat to the rear with the washers, the dryers, and the folding area would all be part of that center, that main area. Now, you can see these circles here. They all have ceiling hung monitors. There's 4 monitors per each one, so that people could would have video there for during the washing of the clothes. And then in the back, there's more seating area. We have more change machines, and then there's the employee space to the rear. And then, as you can see, the gray area is the existing Dollar General. There'll be no changes to that. The storage area would remain in the back. So basically, the bulk of the changes would be to the supermarket space.
And with respect to our parking requirement, that parking area is existing?
Yeah, so looking at the parking area, you can see there's a house between, excuse me, there's a lot between our parking, but we have all the existing blacktop area and the circulation of the parking. Basically one-way parking coming in from Market Street, parking along the side of the building to the rear, and the existing configuration would remain as it were for the 2 commercial tenants previously. Then we have the parking on Summer, which is existing, no changes to the parking, just all the parking would remain.
Okay, that's our only primary variance, is one rear yard setback as well?
Yes,
That's an existing condition.
pre-existing non-conforming and, the parking, basically what we have is, a central laundromat area which would help the needs of the people in the 4th and 5th Ward area based on, its location, the proximity to, Summer Market, Park Avenue, 16th Ave.
So this facility would essentially serve the surrounding residential community in essence.
Yes.
And so it's walkable for those residents, owners, and tenants in the area.
Yeah, it's walkable. A lot of people, we're dealing with another laundromat and, some of the things that people get dropped off. And then, depending on the operations, they can drop off their clothes or wait and, do their laundry. So it has a lot of different, variables within the use.
So some individuals will drive to the site, as you indicated, some could be dropped off, and those close enough could walk with their laundry, packages, correct?
Yeah, there's a lot of multifamily, in the area, both Park Avenue, and, Summer Street, Market Street, and, so this would serve the needs of the immediate neighborhood.
Some of those multifamily, unfortunately, the older ones, many of them do not have laundry facilities.
Right, and even people with washers, sometimes they go to the laundromat, it's a lot easier to, wash it.
Right. And this is an area that has a mix of uses, albeit residential, commercial, religious facilities, what have you? Okay, so you think that suitability, even assuming that it's a permitted use, you feel that the, replacement of the food service, facility with a laundromat is not creating any negative impact at all?
No, it was basically historically a commercial use throughout the years, and it would still serve that purpose.
Right. That's all I have, Madam Chair, for Mr. Evans at this time.
Okay, how many other witnesses do you have?
I have just the applicant, Madam Chair.
Okay, so I'm gonna open up to the public. Is the applicant going to testify or only if needed?
I would like him just to briefly testify to ratify the testimony.
Then please bring him up now.
Sure, Mr. Dunn? Mr. Richard Dunn?
Please raise your right hand. You swear affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
State your full name for the record.
My name is Richard J. Dunn. I reside at 58 Norman Lane in Old Bridge, New Jersey.
Mr. Dunn, would you give us your position, with Paramount Assets?
My position with Paramount Assets is I'm the senior vice president for the organization. So I'm very familiar with this project and all projects that we have done in the state of New Jersey.
And as I indicated earlier, Paramount has appeared before this planning board numerous times over the years, and you did in fact testify in the past.
Yes, I have testified in front of the planning board here in Paterson over 8 times. We have numerous projects on Main Street, Broadway, Market, et cetera, and we are very proud of the city of Paterson and all the great things that have gone on over the last 5 to 7 years with us being involved.
I think it's fair to say that with every approval, we built those projects to conclusion, is that right?
That's correct, sir, yes.
Okay, thanks. Mr. Dunn, you heard Mr. Evans' testimony. Would you be in full agreement with his testimony?
Absolutely do. I believe since the neighborhood is established, there's a lot of multi-family buildings. A laundromat is a very important part of the community, and it is needed there. And we were very sensitive to determine who the new use would be, and we felt that a regional laundromat operator would be a good fit based upon the demographics and the density in the area.
Madam Chair, that's all I have, Mr. Dunn, at this time.
Actually, the chairwoman contacted me and she was having a problem with the battery on her computer, so it must have gone dead. Vice Chairman Dean, if you can pick up with the application, essentially, we just have, we're at the point where I'm assuming Mr. Deutsch are gonna see if there's any calls on the application? Actually, he's probably speaking to, Madam Chair right now. Vice Chairman Dean, are you there? There you are. Why don't we just pick up, if there are any board members who have any questions for Mr. Evans or the representative of the applicant, let's proceed in that order right now. Are there any questions from the commissioners?
Mr. Akubi, should we wait for the, do we have any callers first? Should we wait for the callers?
Well, that's what I think Michael's doing now, but we don't have, since we can proceed in the order of the commissioners first. So let's ask them if they have any questions and then we can go to the public.
All right, commissioners, if you have any question, you can ask to the architect or the owner, one of the owner of the project. Commissioners? I believe no question from the commissioners. Mr. Deutsch, is there any caller on the line?
Well, first, before we go there, I'm sure Vice Chairman Adi doesn't have the phone number to call in.
I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah, I don't have to. Michael, if you have the number, can you put it on the record, please?
I believe I do. I believe I do. It's 1579.
Okay, good.
May I have the meeting ID number, Mr. Deutsch?
It's the phone number, and then the revenue ID number.
ID number. I don't have the ID number.
Yeah, I don't have either. That's not provided to me.
You can click on meeting information on the tab up top, and it should have the ID and phone number.
The meeting ID number is 711-680-001. The call-in number is 1-973-321-1579.
All right, thank you, Mr. Deutsch. Again, we are going back to the public. Public, if you have any question, you can call at 973-321-1579. I'm repeating 973-321-1579, meeting ID number 711-680-001.
IT advises me that we have no callers, sir.
Since we do not have any question from the commissioners and no callers at this point, should we, since I just gave the phone number, should we wait one more minute and see if anyone joins?
Michael, we don't have any callers at this time?
We do not.
Okay, so, Vice Chairman Dean, I guess we can ask the applicant's attorney to sum up for closing remarks, and then we can move on.
Thank you. Matt, would you please sum up the application?
Sure, no problem. Thank you very much, Commissioner, for hearing us this evening. As I said, we think it's a real positive addition to the C1 commercial section of the redevelopment zone. This action's been an integral part over the years of both 4th and 5th in various locations in the city of Paterson in terms of providing quality development. This is, I think, a continuation of that. It's a much needed service for many of the families living in the multi-family buildings, as we discussed. We do believe the parking is more than sufficient, as per Mr. Evans' testimony, to meet the needs of the residents, because individuals will come to this site in various ways. And it's not a injection of a new commercial use strictly in the sense that We have a history of food service retail there, so it's one establishment replacing another. And we think this is a better, more appropriate use, in fact, than what is leaving. So we ask your board for consideration for a motion for approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Maricando. I'm asking any commissioner wants to do motion on this application? Commissioners? Commissioners, anyone wants to do the motion?
I make a motion to approve,
Will you please state the address and the applicant's information? Commissioner Liazzo?
yes, as Paramount Assets LLC, 268 Carroll Street, 272 Carroll Street, and 235 Market Street, for the approval.
So I believe that, Mr. Akoviva, that we have to clarify the variances as well.
Sure, Commissioner Lorenzo has made an application, has made a motion for approval. Site plan approval, both variances, Passaic County Planning Board as Market Street is a county road, and for city engineer review and approval. That is the motion before the board at this time. Thank you, Commissioner Lorenzo. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Was that Commissioner
Councilman
Santana?
Shine Khalid and Commissioner Santana, both of them.
It was Commissioner Santana, Vice Chairman?
I think I heard Councilman Shine Khalid first.
Okay, with that, we have a motion for approval and a second. Commissioner Lorenzo,
Yes,
Commissioner Santana,
Yes.
Commissioner Forestieri,
Yes.
Councilman Kalik,
Yes.
Commissioner Roman,
Yes.
and Vice Chairman Udine.
It's a yes, and congratulations.
This application is passed, so I vote 6 yes to 0 no.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, Vice Chairman, we don't have any resolutions tonight. Mr. North, is there anything else that we have to address? We're gonna have a lot of resolutions in the next meeting, but we're not having it tonight.
Yeah, it's just because I took over, I guess.
The next meeting is Monday, Al.
That's, yeah.
Oh, it's Sunday, okay.
Commissioners, Monday, we're having 2 special meetings. You'll have the reviews tomorrow. They're all done. I'm just waiting to mail them out in the morning. There's a 6:30 and a 7 o'clock on the web. We need 5 commissioners in order to have each meeting. Then on Wednesday, October 6th, we have our regular meeting. 3 very similar applications will be on. You also will get those reviews shortly. And then our last meeting in October is Wednesday, October 20th, regular meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Deutsch.
Thank you, everyone.
Are we ready to close?
Yes, sir.
Motion to close, and I believe we should say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Aye.
Did we finish the meeting?
Just now.
Sorry, I went into another plug, but I apologize, but this computer was plugged in. I don't know why it died. I apologize for the evening. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Did it pass?
Yes.
Did it pass? Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Good job, Mr. Lorenzo.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
All right, everybody, have a good night. I am
gentlemen in there, we're gonna